self-proclaimed greatest white athlete, Dave Chapman. My name is Dave Vincent, and Ashley Cheatham, who will be our sideline reporter. Ashley is going to get on the court and talk to Andy Nett, Alan Garner, Andy from Winona, Minnesota, Alan Garner from San Antonio, Texas. Ashley Cheatham from the University of Arizona, and she is our Aaron Andrews for this match. Ashley Cheatham comes to us from Tucson, Arizona. She'll be courtside to interview the players after and during the match, hopefully at halftime. And Dave Chapman, of course, will be coming from St. Louis, Missouri, giving us color commentating and some analysis here of this pro match, as we now wait for Luis Cordova to go ahead and kick this one off. And here's the announcement from Cordova. Alan Garner wearing the light blue shirt. Andy Nett wearing the dark blue. Cordova's working on getting his line judges. This is the second quarterfinal match of the day, and after this we'll have the semifinals tonight. Starting at 5 p.m. already in the semis, Luis Moreno, he defeated Luis Cordova by a close score of 25-21. And his round of 16 match was pretty much the same score when he defeated Martin Mulkerns yesterday. So Moreno's put in a lot of handball time. Dave, of all the top players out there, Luis Moreno, Sean Linning, Alan Garner in America, you put Alan Garner up there at the top?
I do. Alan is consistently year after year always in that top three, and he usually, I mean, I never see him really have a bad day.
And here's that first serve. But he does play similar to the style that you have. I know he went to one of your youth camps. When he goes to the roof, he has that similar style. Do you see sometimes by watching him play, you go, okay, I taught him that? I mean, I know you're not that egotistical, but I mean.
You know, he's got his own style. I like the serve he's using right now. He's getting a good weak return. But he also has the power game, too. So he has several different styles that he can use to try and defeat an opponent. So he's not locked into just one style of play, which that makes a great player in my opinion, because if your power game's not working and you don't have anything else to go to, then you're just going to lose. If you have different things that you can bring to the game against your opponent, then you're not going to get defeated as many times. Andy Nett off his back foot there.
Score here is 1-0. Alan Garner just floating that ball in. It's actually a great serve, Dave. I've seen you use a whole bunch of different combinations of that sort of serve, where you're basically just trying to take the power away from your opponent, right?
You're trying to take the power away, and he's forcing Andy to go to the ceiling. And with the ball as lively as it is, it's tough to hit the ceiling ball with your offhand and not have it come off the back wall.
What's a good way of defending that serve where they just throw it in to your left? Do you step in and kind of short hop it like you're playing three wall and maybe just slightly paddle it back down a wall so it doesn't hit a ceiling?
You know, the short hop is tough. There's only a few players that have the ability to do that. You can try to go high on the front wall and not hit the ceiling, to go left to left, or just a punch ceiling and not have it come off the back wall is probably the best way to return it. But again, it's tough to keep this ball off the back wall, so it's just a very, very good serve to use.
See that Alan Garner gets a lot of points off a guy like Luis Moreno on that little throw-in serve, but he doesn't do well against Sean Linning, who will come in and attack it. Everybody's got a different way of handling it. Now, what's your record, or have you even ran into Andy Nett in your past as a player?
I think I've played Andy about 4 or 5 times. And Haven't lost to him, but he's got a great game. Good serves when he's hot. He's tough to get out of that front court. Allen matches up real well with Andy Nett.
Serves 3.
Well, Allen's back wall game is really good. And Andy's another one of those guys that'll sometimes give you a ball off the back wall. Andy's also a get artist, and he'll track balls down and keep the game alive. But Allen's a guy that'll just capitalize on your terrible court position. So Andy Nett puts himself in bad spots because he is a get artist, and Allen loves that. And there's a double fault.
I don't think I've ever seen him do that.
3 serves 3.
We're all together at 3, 1 game to 25, win by 2, halftime 15.
Three serves 3.
Both players look to be getting the kinks out right now, early in the first game.
That's a nice shot right there from Alan Garner, wife Erica back home in San Antonio watching.
4 serves 3.
Father James, mom Allison, and brother Aaron is here, also playing in this event. Dave, back on the Pro Tour 20 years ago, let's say. Do you recall two brothers actually being in the top 8?
David and Toddy Silvera
Okay.
at one time were both in the top 8.
And you didn't want to face either of those guys?
No.
Not really.
6 serves 3.
They had different styles of games too, didn't they? I mean, they didn't play exactly the same.
Yeah, they did have very different styles. Toddy being able to shoot with either hand from anywhere. David just having an all-around great game, good back wall, very excellent control.
6.
Did you feel that you matched up better against Toddy or David? I mean, if in their prime, both of those guys, the best that they had to offer, who would you rather face?
Probably David, because Toddy was at times unbeatable when he was on.
The ball looked like it skipped from here, but I guess it was good. Flat rollout from Andy Nett. And there's another point.
6.
5-6. Not a fan of this camera angle, I can tell you.
Short.
I like it between points, but not
Second
necessarily during the play. This is a good one, and that one on the right is excellent as well.
Point.
Diving kill by Andy Nett.
What is your philosophy on that? I heard, I think through the grapevine, that when you would dive for the ball, you decided that you were just going to put it away. Was it very rarely would you ever try to float the ball back and get back into defense?
6 serves 6.
Well, when you dive for the ball, you're going to be on the ground after you hit the shot. So my philosophy is to try to end the rally
Point.
or pass your opponent down the right or left side to give you enough time to get back up. I generally like to go for the re-kill in front of myself, so either it's going to be a hinder or a point for me.
8 serves 6.
Our sideline reporter, Ashley Cheatham, is eagerly waiting her court time here to ask these guys a couple questions. We'll help her out with questions.
9 serves 6.
That's short. No call from the ref.
Yeah, it looks short from our
Appeal.
angle.
Well, disagree. Second serve.
And it was overturned. Allen stepping off the court here, maybe to get a towel. NFL Films contacted the WPH, and we'll be handing them some of the footage from these matches, as they're going to do a piece on handball and Jake Plummer in about 2 weeks. So retain the rights to the videos.
That's great news to hear.
Second
Having
serve.
handball televised and being on the NFL network.
Dave, you were recently in New York, and I'm not sure if the
Okay.
cat is out of the bag or if you did anything with Showtime or
Six or
HBO or
nine.
whoever you were dealing with there, Real Sports with Bryant Gumbel, or can you
Yeah,
talk?
we had an HBO reporter that works for Bryant Gumbel come out and film myself and Jerry Jones. His nickname is Junior. He's probably the top outdoor player in St. Louis. And the story behind that was Junior was in
9
prison,
serve 6.
in a penitentiary for about 7 or 8 years. And in my travels, I went and visited the penitentiary as a way for me to give back to the sport and to show some of the
6 or 9.
prisoners what good handball is and whatnot. So I went there about 3 times and played Junior a couple different times. And I told him, I said, when he gets out, to come out to Forest Park and we'll try and help him get better. Well, he was out for about a year,
Point.
and he was on the cover of our Riverfront Times newspaper, local newspaper
Seven,
in
seven,
St.
nine.
Louis. And she did a lot of interviews with him and I, and it was about a 5-page story on Junior in prison, then coming out of prison and being able to be on top at the Forest Park Handball Club.
Point.
So during the interview process, I told the reporter that I would bring Junior to New York once I started playing again and show him what real one-wall is, and he specializes in big ball, what one-wall big ball is all about, because we just don't have the great players in St. Louis. So a couple weeks ago, I took Junior to New York, and we
8 serve
played
9.
3 straight days at Coney Island, and there was one day where he played 20
Point.
21-point games
Wow.
in a day, and he was just loving it. He's 25
9
years
serve
old.
9.
Took him to a Yankee game and just showed him hundreds and hundreds of handball players that play every day out there at Coney Island.
Now, is he going to pack his bags and move to New York? 'Cause
He
Nine
really
serve
wants
9.
to. He
I
wants
bet.
to. And the reporter was there, and she did another piece on us.
Nice.
And it's in review right now if Bryant Gumbel's going to take the story and put it on the Real Time Sports. So we're kind of in limbo right now, but she seemed very excited about
9 serve 9.
the filming and the coverage that we did out there. And Junior's ultimate goal is to go pro. And I had told him that small ball is more of a pro sport than big ball, but there still is some big ball tournaments if he ever wanted to go pro with big ball. So that's his
9
his
serve
next
9.
goal is to try and go pro.
And tell me about this kid here as we look at the score at
Short.
9-9 between Andy Nett and
Appeals, I call it
Alan
short.
Garner, as that one is now
12
being
degrees, second
appealed. But
serve.
is this kid just a good person, somebody that you obviously traveled with? You connect with him? Is he a friend?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we built a good friendship, and he's got his life on track, working full time, playing handball 3 or 4 times a week.
10 serve 9.
So I think he's got a good chance, especially in big ball, to play in some events and hopefully go pro at some point.
Point.
Andy Nett now,
11 serve 9.
surprisingly, this 11-9 lead against the elite Alan Garner. If Alan were to go on and win this, or even Andy for that matter, they're going to face Luisa Moreno tonight at 5 p.m. And Alan Garner has been able to get past
9
Moreno,
serve 11.
I believe 10 in one lifetime. And if you include brother Aaron, they're 13 in one lifetime. And that's a beautiful shot right there from Andy Nett, who's got the back wall game this weekend. He hasn't been able to track down every one of those balls that Allen's been able to blow by him,
Yeah,
but his
serve
back
9.
wall game looks automatic right now, Dave.
What is Andy's record against Allen?
I actually have those.
Short.
Glad you brought it up.
Second serve.
I have to do a little
Appeal.
research.
Appeal. He appeals. I call it short. 1 degree. Second serve.
I see the team in the booth researching this with their 2 different laptops that they have. They should be getting back to us here in a couple minutes.
2 different colors as well. Obviously didn't buy them at the same place. Glad that you asked that question because it should have been already up on my computer.
9 serves 11.
Alan Garner's 2-0 lifetime versus Andy Nett. I have a database of all the wins and all the losses. I'll take a quick look at
11 serves 9.
your record here. This is for all race events.
Short. Second serve.
Dave, you're 1-0 lifetime against Andy Nett, but I thought you guys played twice. So maybe this database has a little flaw.
Well, I played him in the
12
Simple
serves 9.
Green event. I'm not sure if that was a race for 8 or not.
I think playoffs were discounted, so I think you played him in a playoff match one time, perhaps. And that was a nice round of applause from the crowd here. 9-12 is the score as Alan Garner is trying to gather a few points before going into half. That was short, not appealed.
Alan just trying to find a serve here that works.
Well, Alan doesn't have a great power serve, although he has the most power in the game, I think, especially with that left hand.
First broken ball.
Well, we estimated there'd be 4. And with these guys hitting the ball so hard, you've made a comment one time before that you liked the guys that hit the ball hard with that paddle shot of yours, left-handed paddle up front, or just the way that you position yourself. You know that these hard hitters they have to set up in a certain way and they hit the ball to a certain, part of the court, and you're always there waiting for it. Did you like those guys, or would you rather play a methodical Tony Healy?
I'd rather play a power player just because I'm going to get more back wall opportunities. And for me, the back wall's my favorite shot. So the more back walls that I get, the better chance I have of winning the match.
So a guy like Luis Moreno is somebody that you don't mind playing?
No, I don't mind playing him or Lenning or the power players. Garner gives me a little bit more trouble than either of them.
10 serves 12.
10-12. That was a monumental match that you had with Alan Garner in 2010 at the Simple Green U.S. Open. That frustrating tiebreaker loss of yours, but you guys both played good handball in that tournament. I know that you damaged your knee on a wet floor there, which kind of changed your career just a little bit. But how do you said your knee feels good now?
Yeah, it feels great.
That's what's so automatic with Andy Nett right now. That back wall shot is dangerous. He's hitting a flat rollout. Those tall guys have trouble setting up exactly perfect, and Andy seems to be right on it.
He does. He seems like he's got his confidence going, especially with the back wall shot. If he can get his serve going, he would actually have a chance here to beat Allen.
That was lazy right there. Andy.
Yeah, I don't know how good a dump shots Andy has.
Well, you found out.
10 serves 12.
And a flat roll again from Andy Nett. One knee. That's the pre-dive.
See, Dave, when he takes a full swing up in the front court, he can bury the ball. But when he takes that half dump shot swing, he leaves it up. And Allen's he's got the shots that I'm seeing, but he's just not putting them away.
So both of these players maybe just a little bit rusty. Allen has not played in tournaments for quite some time. I mean, it's been a while for him, and then you'd have to say it's been somewhat of a long layoff as well for Andy Nett. I think a lot of these players are in the same boat. It's been a long season. You're watching the race for 8. Season number 3, stop number 1, Plummer Family Helluva Handball Bash. And have you ever seen a guy work harder at his own tournament than Jake Plummer?
No, I haven't. I have not seen anyone work as hard as he does. Gets here early in the morning, last one to leave. I see him bring ice food. He's carrying things. It's just amazing what he does to make this a special event.
I know that Ashley is in the stands getting ready to get onto the court, and
she's very eager to get in there. I can see she's trying to push her way through the crowd to get through there. And
well, the crowd won't even let her into the area that she needs to be. That's the tough part. She should be, you know, weaseling her way up to the front there and trying to get in front of the camera. She is really, I guess, not a camera hog like Dave Fink.
Right. Yeah, a little different between her and Fink.
Fink is trying to get on the camera, and he's not even holding on to a microphone right now. His match doesn't start till 11, and he's just trying to find a way. Now, Ashley could actually go up to a spectator and ask them questions like, how do you like the tournament, or?
Yeah, Eric Torres is right there ready to answer any question that Ashley can ask him in the glasses there.
Right below the gentleman off to the left of the camera on the back court, who's got the purple hair. He'd be a great guy to talk to.
He would be.
Name is Jim Slavin. I mean, this is a perfect opportunity for Ashley to step in and make her first appearance on the live broadcast. But I guess she's one of those broadcasting school graduates where they know exactly the right time to step in.
All right, 12 serves 10.
This is a very long one-game match at 25. We're not even at halftime yet. We're already 30 minutes into it. Andy's left is sharp off the back wall as well.
Hold it.
It's a good call.
Twelve serves 10. Short.
Andy's got an amazing
Second
serve.
serve.
I think, just from my perspective, I'd like to see him take one step back and try to work some of those angles down the
Hold
right
it.
and the left wall instead of standing dead center. But, hey, he's got a better serve than me. But
12
I'd
serves 10.
like him to try to do something a little bit different other than standing in the middle of the court.
Short.
One secret about Andy, a lot of people have trouble
Second serve.
reading which way he's going to go with the ball. Is he going to go right or left? When he goes right, he stays down on his serve. When he goes left, he lifts up.
Okay.
So that's a way to tell if he's going to go right or left.
That's a good observation. Let's take a look here. When he stays down,
13
he
serves 10.
follows through the ball and guides it down the right wall. That's because he wants that control, right? He doesn't want to hit that side wall. There he is,
Yes.
stays down with his head. Now you feel that when he goes to the left, he lifts. We already
He
saw him.
lifts, yeah.
Okay. And that's because he needs to
14
pull that
serves
ball
10.
across his body, probably. Let's just take a look. So he keeps that head down, and he's trying not to hit that side wall in the air.
15
And there is
serves
that
10.
first 15-point get right there. This would be another great time for Ashley Cheatham to step in, but I guess we'll take a 3-minute break unless she's going to let these players get through here. We'll be back in just a couple minutes for the second half of this quarterfinal match. Stick around here at racefor8.com.
Here we go. We're gonna make some juice.
It's gonna be good.
She's excited. A little bit of kale.
Please don't put this on.
I'm putting it all over the line.
It's wet. It needs something. No, it'll go.
Don't break my juicer. Looks good.
You ready to try it?
Come on, baby.
Challenge your kids to be active and eat healthy.
It's okay.
Hey, all
They
right.
might surprise you.
She took another sip. You saw it?
Search We Can for more ideas on how you and your kids can get healthy together.
Working and working out takes a lot of energy. That's why I drink Zenergy. Feeling fantastic and looking good has never been easier. Science, extreme science for your active lifestyle.
life is full of statistics. Thing is, I could have dropped out of school and become one myself, but I didn't because I had people that believed in me. Here's another statistic. 7,000 students drop out every school day. That's one every 26 seconds. It's time that students know that we believe in them.
Inspire a student and share your message of support at boostup.org.
So, what's it gonna be? We could ride bikes, skating, movies, zoo, whatever you guys want to do.
Can we just do this?
Yeah. We could just do this.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
Fifteen serves 10. Point.
Back into play here as Andy Nett gets a quick point, 16 to 10 for the second half lead here. This is the quarterfinals. Andy Nett just tackling Alan Garner.
Head out.
And there's a side out. Alan Garner going to try to see if he can get off to a
Ten
little
serve
better
16.
start here than he did in the first game. Alan's been
Short.
pretty much trailing Andy
Second
Nett.
serve.
Andy making 2 surges.
Point.
Allen going back to his roots, that serve and first strike that he's known
11 serve 16.
to do so well. 11 to 16 is the score. We're in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho at the Peak Health and Wellness. Dave Vincent alongside David Chapman. And all I can say, Dave, is I know it must be
12 serve 16.
4 o'clock someplace in the world
Short.
with that beverage you brought back to the booth.
Well, as long as it's noon someplace.
serve.
Well, it's only 10:30. But you're right. The only bad thing is that you didn't bring me one. Allen should put this away. Andy gets it. Andy's making fans out here. And he goes for the dump. Allen slides in and gets it. That was one of the toughest rallies of the tournament so far for any player on this show court. Allen's going to demand a towel.
Fantastic rally showing 2 great athletes just making great gets, good shots.
Now, we nearly saw Luis Cordova take down Luis Moreno in that first match, but the difference between these two is these guys were one of the named 8, so they're just sitting around waiting. They did have one match, round of 16, both of them, so they're equal in that sense, but Cordova was playing his 3rd match already in the tournament. Actually, that was his 4th match earlier today, so Cordova's completely spent with his legs. These guys are both very fresh, and you're going to see the best you can out of these two. And that last rally was evident.
13 serve 16. Point.
Wow,
Allen,
great serve.
just not known for that power serve.
14
Both times
serve
that he's gone over to
16.
that right side, he's faked Andy Nett out.
I actually disagree with you with his power serve. I think he has one of the better power serves on
Timeout.
the tour.
Scores 15
It's
serve
very
16.
controlled. It may not be as much power as Lenning or Moreno, but I feel like Allen's control of his power serve is better.
Yeah, Dave Fink said the same thing, and I give him a knock on it because he doesn't get a lot of aces on that serve, but he has so far in this match.
That's one of the misconceptions about serving is that you're looking for the ace, which I think you're looking for the weak return rather than the ace, because you're just not going to ace pro players time and time again with the speed that they have.
Well, that might just be one of my personal issues, is that I've seen a lot of players go out there and try to get that ace. Then they stand around and observe their ace serve, and they're not in the position to get that first strike or that weak return. Some of these hot young players come out here and have really good serves, but they don't They don't have that next step. When you get that ball back, they're not waiting for it. They're actually observing their great serve. They don't come in and attack. Dave, in your clinics, in your elite camps, do you train or teach serves at all, or at least the philosophy behind it?
I do. I don't teach power serves as much unless somebody has the ability to hit a great power serve and get a weak return.
Time in.
Just because I would rather see a player get a setup after the serve rather than
Score
not
is
hit a great
15,
serve and be on
16.
defense.
15-16, Allen serving here. And Allen making a little run of his own now.
Point.
There's another point. Andy Nett tried to break that momentum, but it
16 serve
really
16.
didn't work. Allen still now scoring points, altogether at 16.
Short.
And we've seen
Second
a momentum
serve.
change.
Allen starting to finally play the Allen Garner game, but Nett with a great kill shot from the deep court.
Nett does look really good in this tournament so far.
16 serve 16.
Very impressed with his focus. He didn't seem to have this late in the year last year, but he looks healthy. Nice get right there from Allen. This crowd's going to erupt again.
Wow. Now there's that paddle shot that he hit this time. The last time he didn't look very well. That time he looked good on that shot.
Yeah, this time he was back near the dotted line. Before he was about 4 feet from the front wall.
See how he came up on the serve to the
Yep,
left?
Yep, that's right. He actually hit a short ball too.
Second serve.
Dave, you gave me some advice one time at the Nationals about staying down on the serve. Is there a way to explain it on the live broadcast, how to stay down and why you do that?
Well, just like Andy on that last shot, when he shot with his left, he
16
brought
serve
his body
17.
up, so he didn't finish the stroke, and it just barely missed. Staying down on the serve keeps the ball down. When you lift up, you tend to lift the ball up when you're serving. So staying down on the serve, and this is something I learned from Fred Lewis when I went to a camp with him when I was 16 years old. Staying down that power serve, you're not going to have, you probably lose about 5 miles an hour compared to as hard as you can hit it, but you're going to have more control, and the ball's going to stay lower when it goes over that front line, the back line.
So if you're one of these guys that tries to double bounce the serve, could you do it with that controlled? Double bounce the serve before the back wall. Could you do it with that controlled serve?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
all right.
18 serve 17.
So we just learned something here. And do you take your chin and put it from one shoulder to the next shoulder? I mean, is that, or is it just a subconscious thing where I need to keep my head right down with this when I hit it?
You more or less keep your whole body down through your swing like you're
17.
posing for a picture.
Okay.
So you don't really worry about what your chin's doing, but you're worried about what your body's doing. It's just a split second you stay down, then you lift, then obviously you lift up to get ready for the return.
Andy Nett engaging into some ceiling play, but you don't really want to do that with Allen, but it worked for him that time. Point now 18-19, going to 25. This one's turning out to be another great match. First match of the morning was 25-21. Looks like we're heading in that same sort of direction. And there's another point now for Andy.
This is where it starts
18 serves
getting
19.
excited. When you get close to the end of the game,
Short.
you'll generally see one player that's more confident towards the end and one that's just not
Second
used
serve.
to winning when it gets close and not making the shots when it counts. So we'll see what happens here.
Wow, nice shot right there. First strike from Andy, and he hit it fairly in front of himself.
19 serves 19.
Now you see Allen plays somewhat close to the dotted line, Dave. Is that a philosophy that you have at a certain time when you're playing a certain player where you'll almost have your butt on the glass or come up to that near that dotted line? When do you make the change? What dictates where you stand?
It depends on where the player's serving. If he's serving just over that line going for the crack, then you have to move
19
up.
serves 19.
But if the ball's traveling closer to the back wall, you can take an extra step back. I generally like to be about 2 steps in front of the back wall when I return serve. But that obviously can change depending on who you're playing. If you're playing Naughty, he's going for that crack on the right, so you have to cheat up. Now, I usually talk about 16-16
20 serve
in a game to
19.
21 where you're going to see a difference in play. And it was at 19-19 just about 30 seconds ago. And we'll see what happens. Because there's a lot of players that can get up to 16-16 on a good pro, but then once that 16-16 hits, the momentum changes and the game changes. So we'll see if that happens in this match.
Well, I think we're seeing it right now. Alan Garner, you saw right there 2 shots ago, Andy Nett had a big opening into the left corner, and he hit it wide and high, and Alan killed the very next shot, the one that Andy was unable to hit. This time Andy hits that ball perfect. Alan was right there. Actually probably should be serving at 22 right now. Instead he finds himself returning the serve, 19-21. I think you might get a timeout here.
Timeout, 1 minute.
That's exactly what's happening. This is pressure time from both of these players. Now, if we were playing a traditional game to 21, people would leave here going, wow, Andy Nett scored 19 off of Alan Garner. But we're still in play here, and Andy has a chance to take this match. It's a one-gamer, 25, win by 2. And the crowd is enjoying what they're seeing, and as they do with most Andy Nett and Alan Garner matches.
Andy, in my opinion, Dave, is going to have to get really lucky to win this match. He's going to have to get some ace serves. He's going to have to go for his shots as soon as he gets them, and he's going to have to get 1 or 2 misses by Allen. So all those things are going to have to happen for Andy to win this match.
Now, if you were sitting courtside and you were able to talk to Andy, what would you say to him right now? I guess that was pretty much it.
Yeah, I would
need to
tell
go for
him,
your shots.
I would tell him go for his ace down the right, and it is first opportunity, really move his feet, set up, and go for the kill. He's going to have to win. Allen's not going to lose the match.
Well, Andy Nett serving here. We're down to crunch time. And you can tell it, too, when the crowd starts lifting their voice during the timeout.
19 serves 21.
Terrible miss hit from Andy. Hits it right down the middle too hard, then out of position. Allen doesn't capitalize, though.
Side out. Side out.
See right there, Dave, Andy didn't make a move for that shot, so I think that's why he didn't get the hinder. I think if he'd have gone for it, got all over Allen's back, he would have got the hinder.
I don't think Andy saw it, knew where it was at.
It could be true also.
You don't see Andy argue with the referee too much. And
19.
That right there should have been a technical hinder.
Yes.
Short.
That was a complete blow up for anybody else. Short
Second
ball,
serve.
second serve, 21-19. Crunch time separates the men from the boys, though. Oh, I like that little fake paddle from Andy.
Point.
Do you think that Andy should have gone for that fadeaway?
I didn't think he should have gone for that off his back foot and being
2 minutes.
being in the
22
back
serves 19.
on defense, not serving. That's a big chance to take there.
Referee now giving a 2-minute glove change after that timeout, just a couple points back, actually a couple rallies back. 2-minute glove change, equipment timeout as we are cruising here in this men's quarterfinal match today. Supposed to kick off right at 10 o'clock. It was about 5 minutes after that, so we've been on the court for 43 minutes, and we're at 22-19 with Alan Garner in the lead.
See your wife in the crowd taking a little nap right there, Dave?
Was she sleeping?
Yep.
Yeah. Wife is actually going through the pictures that she's taking there, but I wouldn't doubt the sleeping part either. I actually had to look. Dave Chapman is the voice you hear in the booth. We're learning a lot of things here with Dave. Dave, I have a feeling that you know, if you hung around a little more, we could probably teach people how to play this darn game. Some of your, I mean, certainly, Dave, you've got years and years of public service on the court. As a pro player, you've played these amazing matches, but then you get off the court and people will just come up to you and start picking your brain. Is it one of those things where you say, you know, I guess I'm going to have to do it. I'm going to have to answer some of these questions, but I really like to go back to the hotel and put some ice on these knees. I mean, what was your philosophy? I mean, because I've seen it before where you would get to a handball tournament and be out in the front door and you not even be able to make a step in and be 3 hours talking to people. How do you separate yourself from all that?
Well, you know, you want to engage in the crowd and answer as many questions as you can, but some of the questions that people ask, like, you know, some of the crazy shots that I have, the dink shots and the weird spins, are something that those people will never ever be able to do in their lifetime. So I'd rather answer a question like, what's the best serve to use, or what should I do on a return of serve here? Something that their caliber of play, you know, would help them with their game. But it's, you know, it's sometimes difficult to, when you're doing one of the hook shots that go in the left corner. How do I do that? Well, unfortunately, in a nice way, you can't do that.
Is it something that you developed as a young kid from watching the platform tennis? I mean, where did you come up with some of this stuff?
Well,
Big ball,
I
outdoor?
watched Kareem Abdul-Jabbar play basketball a lot, and I said, how can I incorporate that into the handball game? No, I learned it from playing actually big ball in Long Beach at the Bay Shore courts, because you use a lot of different swings when you play big ball, and you can incorporate some of those swings actually into the small ball with the spins that you could use to keep the ball down. So kind of a transition shot between both games.
So maybe the best advice to give is, why don't you go play some big ball for a while? I mean, because I've gone out last year. I dedicated myself to playing big ball, and I found out that the hop happens on the front wall, not necessarily on the ground.
Yes.
And in small ball, the hop is happening on the ground, and sometimes you can make it happen on the front wall. But I didn't know that you could make it happen on the front wall until I played big ball. Now I see that there's a lot more things going on. Some of these big ball players are able to slice the ball from deep and actually make the ball curve before it gets to the front wall, which is kind of interesting too.
You see the players in New York really, really excellent with the spins, because they don't want their opponent or opponents to fly the ball, because then they can put it down, hit it back at themselves. So what they try to do is spin the ball off that front wall to negate that fly shot.
Right. Well, back here on the small ball court, 4-Wall Pro Tour, brought to you by the World Players of Handball. Alan Garner making a late game surge here. He's been trailing most of this match. It's a one-gamer to 25, win by 2. Alan Garner just 3 points away from advancing to face Luis Moreno in the semifinals tonight at 5 o'clock Pacific time. We're in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho at the Peak Health and Wellness. Dave Vincent alongside Dave Chapman. And these players are in the middle of a 2-minute glove change that has turned out to be 5 minutes long. At 11 o'clock, it'll be David Fink and Armando Ortiz.
22 serves 19.
That one's coming up in 8 minutes, and I can see why you're bringing those spirits back to the broadcast booth, Dave.
Point.
Wow, great shot by Allen.
Because you almost have to have some liqueur in your body when you're watching a
3 serves
Fink
19.
Armando match.
Short.
Now Garner 2 points away.
Second serve.
Jimmy, one's ready.
You can see Andy just not as sharp as he was at 19-19. He's had 3 or 4 setups here. That was a tough one with his left. He's just playing defend ball right now instead of offensive ball.
Match point serves 19.
Here it is, match point 19. And there it is.
There it is.
Okay.
Alan Garner wins 25-19 over Andy Nett. We've seen a lot of close matches here in this handball tournament, as we will be going courtside with Ashley Cheatham, who has our winner, Alan Garner. Ashley?
All right, thanks, Dave. Alan, fun. This match was neck and neck the whole time. We're going into almost 50 minutes of it. How does it feel?
It feels really good. First half was a little bit lackluster, but I definitely stepped it up. I don't feel like I really played that much better, but my intensity was up there, which really helped me out a lot.
Well, thanks, Dave. Back to you.
Thank you. That's it. You know, Alan just pretty much says it. My intensity wasn't where it needed to be in the first half, but I seemed to get it back. And Ashley doing a great job there with her first on-court interview with our pro players. We'll have more of those and some insights from the players throughout this tournament. I mean, we'll make sure to break down and hopefully get some of those tough questions out of the way. I mean, we've seen some pretty emotional things here on the live broadcast in the last few live broadcasts that we've done. Timbo Gonzalez over in Vegas, and you missed that tournament, defeated Boxer Rosales, a one-wall big ball player going out to the three-wall courts, defeating a legend, former yellow jersey winner in Vegas, first year, the year you were there. And he was completely emotional. I mean, this guy was shaking when he came up into the broadcast booth, almost crying. Dave, have you seen and been a part of a match, any match in your lifetime where you got that emotion, where you almost felt like you were going to cry?
Generally, I never did get that type of emotion because I've played the sport so long, since I was 3 years old. So there's been a couple times. I know winning the Vegas tournament for me was a little emotional, playing Luis Moreno in a 102-degree weather for 2.5 hours and beating him in a tiebreaker. That was a great win. Beating Lenny a couple years ago in the Nationals after coming back was a little emotional, but I've never gotten to the point of shaking and things like that.
Yeah, it's interesting when you see a player do that, and it really shows how much it means to them to get these wins. And we're going to try to capture that here this weekend if we have some of those upsets. I know yesterday Armando Ortiz took down Natti Alvarado, and he came into the booth and really said this might be the best win I've ever had in my entire life, only because Natti's been kind of the man down in Southern California, and Mondo's been looking up to him for 4 or 5 years or even more than that. You know, he said since I started playing at 12 years old, Natti was the guy to beat, and he took care of him yesterday. Now you see Mondo going to go up against Dave Fink here in the next round. You've been out of pro handball for the last couple of years, but you've still sat back and read some of the stories and watched some of the videos. What do you think is going to go on in this match between one of your, I guess, proteges, Dave Fink, and Armando Ortiz, who I know that you've had your sights on for about 5 years now?
Well, Ortiz is playing very good handball right now. He's making his shots. He's not having too many hand errors. And Fink, you know, if he's on and he's a moody player, if he's in a good mood and he feels good about playing, he's really a different player than if he's negative and not really into it. So it's going to depend on how his mood is, and also if he gets out to a fast start. Fink is good when he gets out to a fast start. If he gets behind early, I just don't think he has a shot.
We're going to find out what happens next when David Fink goes up against Armando Ortiz. Dave Fink is the number 3 seed in this pro event. Armando Ortiz is a guy who qualified and already has 3 matches under his belt, so we're going to find out next. That's coming up. You stick around. More action for Dave Chapman. My name is Dave Vincent. Stay here. More quarterfinal play will happen at racefor8.com.
Working takes a lot of energy. That's why I drink Zenergy. Feeling fantastic and looking good has never been easier. Science, extreme science for your active lifestyle.
So, what's it gonna be? We could ride bikes, skating, movies, zoo, whatever you guys want to do.
Can we just do this?
Yeah. We could just do this.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
We are different. Society should aspire to be more like us.
Be part of the first class. Get energized. Get outside.
Hold on, guys. It's gonna get bumpy.
And get moving. Experience the power of physical activity. Join the movement at ActionHeroAlliance.com.